Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, a place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but our beautiful country and how we're going to fix both of those things together. And if you are down for that mission, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on because we have some work to do, my fellow patriots. Because today is when it begins. Congress is back in session and the votes for the Speaker of the House begin. This is where Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, and all the Republicans, MAGA conservatives, all the Freedom Caucus, the fiscal conservative, everything gets mixed together and we find out who actually becomes the Speaker of the House. Now, this is so consequential because this is who determines which gun bills go forward in a supermajority. This is who decides which gun rights get accelerated over which ones that don't. This is a big one, people. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below. We're going to walk through everything. I've got clips from CNN. I've got the actual Republicans involved. I've got Trump, everything. So make sure you do all that liking, all that sharing, and spread some freedom. All right, let's get it. So we are going to dive directly into this. We're going to start off with GOA. Now, Mike Johnson is the guy who's going to be the front runner for this. Some of you are going to like that. Some of you are going to hate that. I'm going to try to be as objective as possible in this. So GOA, Gun Owners of America, Speaker Johnson worked hard along GOA to slash ATF's budget, fact, did happen, and stop an illegal veteran disarmament program. Also, fact, did happen. Now, here's something to the credit of Johnson. Even though he had a Democrat-run, or a very large Democrat contingent in the House, a Democrat-run Senate, and a Democrat White House, he still managed to get the ATF budget slashed and signed by Biden, and the illegal veteran disarmament program that was basically the fiduciary. If you can't run a checkbook, you lose your gun rights in the NICS system. That was also removed in that same budgetary strike. So those are two wins on the 2A space. Now, on the other side of that, again, objectively, he's not good with spending. He put in a lot of pork and a lot of pay raises just last year, the end of last year, for the congressional members, and then that got smacked down. So he's a bit of a, up in the air, depends where your values lie. Now, if you are a 2A supporter, he does have a lot of wins to put in the positive column. Right there, you can see GOA. Again, you can let me know what you think in the comments field. But let's keep on going because this is where it all factors together. Now, Thomas Massie, who is extremely strong on gun rights, this guy is not all about it. Listen to what he said talking to Matt Gaetz on his new show last night. Listen to this.
If Chip Roy were asked to serve as chairman of the Rules Committee, would that be enough to get your vote for Mike Johnson?
Oh, no. You can pull all my fingernails out. You can shove bamboo up in them. You can start cutting off my fingers. I am not voting for Mike Johnson tomorrow. And you can take that to the bank.
Who are you voting for, Matt? Thomas? Who are you voting for?
Nope. Okay, so he didn't say it. Okay. Good job, Congressman. Woo, yay. All right. This is important because if you guys remember last year at this time when we had the speakership fight, and again, this is the big, broad fight. The gun rights fight is circumstantial to what happens on the bigger, broader spectrum. What you're talking about is what allowed us to get to this point. When Kevin McCarthy got ousted last year by Matt Gaetz, and he put in a motion to vacate of one vote from the Republicans or anyone on basically to remove him from power, that neutered the rhino element in Steve, what's his name? I just said his name. Goodness gracious, I just blanked. McCarthy. Steve McCarthy, Republican from California, rhino from California. This is the same fight we have going up because the MAGA Republicans, the gun rights Republicans like Massie right here, can simply say, you don't have my vote, and it doesn't take that many to take power away from Speaker Johnson, therefore making him a little more endeared to their whims and wishes. Okay, that's the important piece here. That happens. Gun rights happen. That's the point. All right. Let's keep going though. Donald Trump has been supporting Mike Johnson. Listen to this. Good luck today for Speaker Mike Johnson, a fine man of great ability who is very close to having 100% support. A win for Mike today will be a win for the Republican Party and yet another acknowledgement of our 129-year most consequential presidential election. A big affirmation indeed, MAGA. So he's trying to rally the base to get him in line. Now, Thomas Massie didn't do it, and he can't afford that many votes. That's the big thing. You can't do this. And this vote's going down today. We'll keep you updated. But now let's jump over to CNN. CNN is up to their usual games of what they believe is going to happen through Harriet and their poll master, the poll guy, the guy of all the polls. All right, listen to what he says here, and we'll kind of break down this analysis.
This is the simple math. We went through it yesterday. I feel like it's deja vu all over again when it comes to these speaker races. Look, this is the simple math, right? GOP reps can sink Johnson's speaker bid. In scenario one, if just two vote against him, if just two Republican representatives vote against him, assuming, of course, 434 members vote and no Democrats vote for Johnson, which is what we expect, if just two Republicans vote against him, he doesn't win the speakership. How about scenario two? If one votes against him and then two abstain, i.e. vote present, then that too would deny Johnson the speakership. Look, we're dealing with a historically narrow majority, the narrowest going into a speaker's vote this early in the Congress since 1917. And the bottom line is the math is just so tight. Just a few Republicans can throw this entire situation into gosh darn chaos.
All right. Again, he's dramatic, he's flamboyant, it's his style. Okay, this is the big thing, and this is why Thomas Massey's is so important. This is why Chip Roy is so important. Victoria Sparks is so important. When you look at the scenario, you can only lose 2 votes. Yeah, Donald Trump better be right. You got to have an almost 100% confirmation because it's almost what's required to confirm the guy. So as you go through this whole process, understand if you've already got one Republican not there in Thomas Massey, it only takes one more out of like 217 people to sink the entire nomination, and we go through the multiple rounds thing again, right? In the other scenario, if 2 just abstain because they're not exactly happy and they're trying to hold out for a position or something for negotiation power, which is what I expect, that's probably more likely. This is going to be a longer fight. All right, now let's continue. There's some math that they're about to play here. Watch this.
All right, we saw 15 votes, I think, to get the former speaker in place. He kept losing, and finally won. Where do we stand right now with what we know where the GOP members are?
Yeah, and keep in mind, the math here is turning every few minutes, so stay tuned on this. I actually took a slide out because I wasn't so confident in the math, but I am confident on this particular slide. Some Republicans who may not vote for Johnson, well, Thomas Massey of Kentucky, he is, as I said, we were going to say hell no a lot in this segment. He is a hell no. I'm voting for Johnson, at least on that first ballot. How about serious qualms? Remember, then we just need either one more Republican to vote against or 2 to vote president, that is abstain. And look at this, Chip Roy of Texas, and then, of course, Victoria Sparks of the great state of Indiana. And keep in mind, both of these folks didn't vote for Kevin McCarthy. You mentioned that 15-vote thing. They didn't vote for Kevin McCarthy on 5 or more ballots in January of 2023. So the idea that these two would throw the speakership race into a complete mess, well, there's some real history of that going on here. So both of these are definitely in play. But Thomas Massey at this point is the quote-unquote hell no. And that's probably going to be the last time I use the word hell, at least in this segment, though we'll see.
Why, thank you, Harry. It's only the third. We can't say it more than 3 times.
All right. That's kind of just reconfirming what we just talked about. All right. Sparks, Roy, Massey. Now, those 3 are really good on gun rights. Those 3 are really good on spending. Those 3 are really good on the border. And they're honestly pretty hard as nails, all 3 of them. So it's going to be an adventure today. We'll probably live stream them at some point in time. We're going to be watching pretty close like a hawk because this is probably going to go into the evening. I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, let's continue. He's going to show you the actual odds of what they think, how many ballots, all the different things. Because it is CNN, I got to give Harry his due. Let's get it.
I do want to mention the reason why we know is because they have been public about it. There are some Republicans who have not been so public about it, but privately talking about it. So what is the chance we end up Johnson wins on the first ballot?
Yeah, exactly right. And as you pointed out, there are others, at least on the first ballot, who may not vote for Johnson. These are just the ones publicly that we know. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. This is the chance that Mike Johnson wins the speakership, and this is per an average of the betting markets. On the first ballot, it's 35%. So that's south of 50, right? Although, really wouldn't be surprising. 1 in 3 things happen all the time. But here's the key thing. Just because he loses on the first ballot doesn't mean he won't win on the second ballot, third ballot, fourth ballot, etc. At some point that Johnson wins, it's 90%. Now, again, that's not 100%, but it's far more likely than not. So just because if Johnson loses on the first ballot, it doesn't mean that he won't eventually get it. At this point, that seems like the most likely possibility.
All right. The biggest thing that comes to my mind in this is as we wrap this up, they're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. What they're basically saying is there's a 90% chance he's going to get it. They're saying that Trump has his support. There's a few holdouts. They're probably going to negotiate in some different rules or some different things or different positions or different priorities. But more likely than not, you're going to have Speaker Johnson again underneath of President Trump with a Senate Republican and a President Republican and a House Republican. More likely than not, that's what's going to happen. But make sure you stay tuned because we'll keep you updated as it happens. But this is extremely consequential for our gun rights, particularly since he's already shown that he's cut the ATF budget by a very large amount, hundreds of millions of dollars. And he got rid of a aggressive infringement, de-arming of the veteran population for not managing their checkbooks. So he does have some pretty strong pros. Now we can just get the spending and the border reeled in. We might be on to the races. That's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one.